Sky News contributor, former Liberal Minister Gary Hargrave, of course, Nationals MP Keith Pitt. Gents, welcome. We've done a bit on The Voice. One thing, though, I want to pick up and tell people at home, of course, Keith Pitt, if you vote no, according to Aboriginal activist Marsha Langton, she said this in the Weekend Australian, if you vote no, you're not going to have any more welcome to countries, she says. Now, I saw this on social media, and a lot of people saying, well, gee, I was sitting on the fence, but the idea that there'll be no more welcomes to countries, well, I'll absolutely vote no. People don't mind it where it applies to a specific Aboriginal event. I think there's a lot of support for them, but they don't like them now being so gratuitous. You land a plane and you get a welcome to country.
Well, I think that's exactly right, Peter. To be honest, the mob are just over it. Where it's got cultural significance, absolutely, it's important. But they also get paid to do these things. I mean, they're not free. So then you get the welcome to country that's paid for, followed by acknowledgements from every speaker at every video cross and every conference. And the people I'm talking to, they've just had enough. It's been printed on T-shirts. You hear it when you land with Qantas. I mean, if this has got a significant cultural reference, which is what's being proposed, well, stop doing it so often would be my answer. And I think if Marsha Langton's absolutely rock solid on that, that'll help the no case, no end.
What about this move at the Australian Public Service? So this is the public servants in Canberra. There's about 150,000 of them, Gary. The Community and Public Sector Union, the CPSU, it's demanding that all APS public servants be given unlimited flexibility to work from home. Now, how on earth does the APS do its job if everyone was to work from home?
Well, Peter, there are a lot of people in the public service who, if they didn't show up on a given day, no one would notice the difference. So if they're working from home, I guess it's one way of hiding it. But equally, there are a heck of a lot of people who are really hard workers and do a lot of good things. Look, the public service has always been at the leading edge. They were the ones who said to Gough Whitlam, when we go on holidays, we need a bit more money to spend, so give us a 17.5% leave loading. They did that 50 years ago. So we all now have it. So this is a leading edge to something. And there are going to be certainly a lot of people in small business who know the history of it and know that this is coming their way. Peter, I have no problem with people working from home if and when that suits the purpose of what they do, but we need people on the front line. We need more people on the front line. The trouble now is all of our bureaucracies are now so filled up with people who are just simply putting papers from one tray to the other, clicking one thing to the other on a computer. They're not really at the front line, and that's the problem, and it's costing us a lot of money. And look, let me tell you, Canberra is at the heart of all of the division, whether it's The Voice, whether it's this sort of, we're doing fine, it doesn't matter if you're not. And I just don't think this is a good look for the APS and the union. Not a good look at all.
And they want a 20% pay rise over 3 years to Keith, 9% of course in the first year. I mean, I'm happy to pay on results. But if you look at Aboriginal disadvantage, taxpayers put $30 billion on the table every year. The public servants implement and administer that funding, and look where we are. Hey, double prescription lengths. This is a proposal from the doctors' groups. They want us to be able to take our prescription and get 2 months of our drugs off the one script. The pharmacy lobby says absolutely not. You've got to come in each month. Of course, they get paid a fee per script, not for multiple dispensations at the one time. I love this idea, Keith. Nothing drives me nuts more than having to go to the pharmacy every single month. I'd love to get a couple of months at a time. We certainly could do it during COVID. What do you think?
Peter, I had a shot just last week to get 2 months in advance, and it was a no. Let's be brutally frank, it's about the money. And GPs are so tied up now with all sorts of things, and we do have shortfalls, particularly in regional areas. The idea that they're tied up writing scripts every month or whatever the case may be, and they don't necessarily have to. Well, that's between you and your doctor. And I'm sure that financial arrangements can be put in place that satisfy both the Pharmacy Guild and the GPs. And we've all got to do better in this space because we just keep burning GPs' time up with things which are, in a lot of cases, just administrative. And just on your other issues briefly, Peter, if the union thinks you can work at home full time, that's great because you can get out of Canberra and you can go to Windora or Walgett or Wee Waa or somewhere else.
Wouldn't that be nice? Just quickly, Gary, harrowing stories in the Courier Mail. Queenslanders living in their homes, families living in cars, sorry, not living in their homes, living in cars, shortage of homes. What's driving this?
Oh, look, Peter, there's many, many things. And I know you want a quick response, but there's like a 5-minute lecture easy on this. Look, housing shortage is like getting mugged by a tortoise. You know, you can see this problem coming for a long time. So it's a failure at the state level. They've failed to release enough land for housing. There are thousands of hectares in southeast Queensland alone that are locked up by state governments, various departments holding onto it for the one day they might need it stuff. And then on top of that, they're driving the costs up in building and renovations because everything's unionised. Every worksite now is unionised. So, Peter, on multiple fronts, there's multiple problems. But the reality is tens of thousands of people have been couch surfing in southeast Queensland for a year or more now. Post-floods of last year certainly drove part of it, and the state government won't even open up that Pinkenbar facility near Brisbane Airport, which has got luxurious accommodation by comparison to sleeping in a car. They say, oh no, that's not a good thing to do, and they won't allow it to be open. So they're a dud, this mob in Queensland, a real dud, and people are hurting.